Howdy! Welcome to Cryptid Caravans. We're hauling in new monsters all the time. As promised last time, today we're going to talk about my favorite cryptid, the Wendigo. I first encountered this one while playing an X-Men game when I was a youngin', and so began my lifelong interest in the cryptid mythos. So grab some eggnog and follow along. Wendigos are traditionally said to live in the Great Lake area of Canada and America. They roam the cold, lonely, snowy forests. And on Lake Mamiguas is a cave covered in paintings of large, hairy men. It's referred to as the Cave of the Wendigos. Like the Chupacabra, the Wendigo's widespread popularity has led to many different physical descriptions of the beast. There's the large, hairy, Yeti-like version. Others describe it as a tall, gaunt, skinny figure with yellow fangs and gray skin. Some place it as having a deer's head. And there's about as many different ways to spell the thing's name as there is tribes that believe in it. But all of them roughly translate into the evil spirit that devours man. The legend of the Wendigo first started among the Algonquin tribe. The Wendigo was a beast that symbolized the ideals of famine and harsh winters, and served to reinforce the taboo of cannibalism. Sometimes you just gotta be reminded not to eat people, I guess. See, the Wendigo is not just a beast, but sort of a spirit or curse that inhabits the northern woods. Its beastly form manifests in a human that resorts to cannibalism. Some people in the early stages of Wendigoism would purposefully live a life of isolation to avoid hurting more people. Grandpa just did it to get away from Grandma. Other parts of the Wendigo lore say that it grows larger each time it consumes a man, and that it can mimic a human voice. The Wendigo's icy heart is said to contain the body of the person that the beast overtook. The various Algonquin tribes all have different stories about Wendigo encounters. One notable origin story from the Ojibwa involves a trapper named Wendigo who found no game and had to eat tree bark. Fiber. He finally broke down and prayed to an evil spirit for help. The spirit gave him magic powers and a hunger for man. He would be defeated by a medicine man named Big Goose. He found that the Wendigo had grown taller than the trees and was only able to defeat it by changing into a giant dog. But what about those of us that can't turn into giant dogs? Well, if you heat up a silver knife and stick 'em in the heart, it'll kill the beast, or at least kill the person inside. Then you salt and burn the body. Well, that's the folklore directions to killing one, but history provides us with some other options. During the early 1900s, there were an old Cree Indian who took up the profession of Wendigo hunter. Jack Fiddler and his brother John Banjo Player are credited with killing at least 13 people affected with the Wendigo curse. He was respected by his fellow tribesmen. But the Canadian government didn't take so kindly to him. During his many trials, Jack committed suicide by hanging. And he wouldn't be the only reported person killed thanks to the Wendigo legend. There's the infamous story of Swift Runner, the Cree Indian. In the harsh winter of 1878, he took his family to the remote Alberta wilderness. When the spring of '79 came around, Swift Runner wandered back into town without his family. I'll give you 2 guesses what happened. Swift Runner told the local Catholic priest that his family had died from starvation. The priests grew suspicious of his story, as Swift Runner appeared healthy, and many other Cree had been able to hunt for food successfully throughout the winter. They also knew Swift Runner was cursed with being an angry drunk. At night, Swift Runner would scream and have terrible nightmares. Yeah, some red flags should be going up right about here. On request of the priests, the authorities visited Swift Runner's winter cabin and found a disastrous scene. They found human bones littered across the floor. Swift Runner admitted to eating his family. He claimed to have been possessed by the Wendigo spirit when rations ran low. Voices in his head told him to kill his family and cook them up and then eat them. Well, at least he kept it all in the family. God. The jury quickly sentenced him to death for the crime of cannibalism. Runner was attacked by the curse of the Wendigo, but 15 years later, we got a report of an actual attack by a Wendigo beast. A guide named Little Jack led a father and son, the Sears, on a hunting trip near a lake. He gave them strict orders to stay on the south side of the lake and to get back to camp before dark. Son didn't listen to the instructions as he paddled out to the northern shore of the lake. I mean, why follow the advice of the frickin' expert? The Sears kid disappeared into the forest on the north bank as little Jack paddled after him. Suddenly they hear the sound of a rifle fire. The kid ran out of the trees with a terrified look. Behind him was the Wendigo, who caught the young boy in his paws and took his head clean off. Little Jack fired at the beast, but his bullets did nothing, so he turned tail and ran. Only way he could have started paddling faster is if he heard banjo music playing. Now, scientists have tried to explain the cases of Canadian cannibalism, like swift runners, with a mental illness called Wendigo psychosis. Basically, it says that people of northern cultures are susceptible to an uncontrollable craving for human flesh, even if there's access to regular food. This isn't a well-respected diagnosis, though, and psychiatrists aren't well-respected around these parts. Many academics debate it, as there aren't any in-person cases, just stories, and most of those with the psychosis suffer from a whole host of other mental issues. Again, the Wendigo is an extremely popular cryptid, especially in the horror community. It was first featured in the mainstream media in Algernon Blackwood's 1910 short story. Blackwood's story would inspire King's interpretation of the cryptid in his Pet Cemetery. You want to take a guess what TV shows featured a Wendigo? If you guess Supernatural, good job, Slick. It also popped up in shows like Grimm, Charmed, and Lost Tapes. He's also appeared as an antagonist in a few video games, Warcraft, Secret World, and Until Dawn, to name a few. And it's featured in the 5th edition of the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons. But the biggest proponent of the Wendigo, and how I first learned about it, is Marvel Comics. In 1973, the Beast debuted in Incredible Hulk 162, where it fought both the Green Meanie and Wolverine. They stuck to the basic legend and designed their Wendigo to look like the big hairy Yeti beast. Besides the comics, it's appeared in other Marvel properties, like the game I mentioned, X2 Wolverine's Revenge. Maybe I can use my Wolverine senses to track the beast. The Wendigo is a famous mythological creature, though its fame is different from that of Bigfoot or Nessie's. So the question for you is it just a beastly creature, a spiritual curse, or perhaps it's just a story made to reinforce the taboo of cannibalism? Oh crap! Look out! Oh crap, crap, crap! Our nation.